I'm Jesper, and I'm just some guy living with my family in Denmark. What I like the most about life here is the freedom. I never set an alarm clock to wake me up, and I don't lock my car. My workshop is unlocked, even though I probably should lock it, because I have been able to get a lot of tools over the last 2 years. This is my story of how I got thrown into woodworking and YouTube. It's also how I got to be my own boss, how I got tools, and also more than 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I didn't see that one coming. Back in 2019, I discovered that I had an abandoned horsebarn that I didn't use for anything. I think my wife was pretty happy to get me out of the house, so she encouraged me to get the few tools that I had organized so I at least could find them. I was really a knucklehead, but I cleared out the barn and I started looking for my tools. I did spend some evenings out there, but to be honest, I wasn't too motivated. But then, in late February 2020, something happened. I can't explain it any better than I had an epiphany of inspiration that told me to stop watching too much news and to start going outside and doing something new. My day job also fell apart, and I really started to think about maybe I could use my hands to make a living somehow. I didn't have any cash on hand because up till then I pretty much spent all I had every month, which is really stupid. I had a stack of Euro pallets, and I heard of people using palletwood, so I started to figure out how to take them apart. Some of my first palletwood projects were these boxed wine stands. After some experimentation with design, I made 4 like this. I gave 2 away and I sold 2 of them. And I thought that was it. But boy, was I in for a surprise. I soon ran out of pallets, so I started pulling over to stores that had pallets laying around. That worked for a while, but I took my pallet hunting to new heights by contacting local factories. Out of the 5 that I contacted, 2 of them said yes, that I could come and grab as many pallets as I wanted. And one of them even had a lot of shipping boxes and other wood, which basically built my workshop. One of the people that I gave a wine box holder had a party, and I started getting calls from the guests. They wanted one of these for themselves. It turns out that a lot of people drink boxed wine in Denmark, and I started making a lot of these. I still make batches of them today. I really just got crazy creative and spent most days outside just making stuff from pallets. In the evenings, I was watching other makers on YouTube and trying to learn woodworking stuff. At some point, I got the idea to try filming a video myself, but I was also insecure about what I could bring to YouTube with all these great makers there already. Eventually, I got the idea to make a garden table from one single pallet, and I grabbed one of my kids' Canon cameras and filmed the whole thing. That eventually became my first and not very good video on my new YouTube channel. But it was also the start of a new adventure, and I felt a lot like Alice in Wonderland before she got to Wonderland and was just falling down the rabbit hole. All woodworkers need tools, and this upcoming woodworker had no cash on hand, so he had to go and ask friends and family for their old tools. I got an old miter saw and pillar drill. I found some hand tools at garage sales that I restored. My dad even gifted me his old compressor and nail gun. I made work tables out of palletwood and plywood from shipping boxes, and even a weird vise in a workbench made from a cable reel. To be honest, I had no clue what I was doing at first, but I learned a lot every day just by doing stuff and watching other makers on YouTube. In the beginning, I saw pallets everywhere, but then I also started to see logs and blown over trees everywhere, and I figured if I could somehow mill those logs into slabs and lumber, there could be a business for me. This was heavily inspired by Matt Cremona, who literally mills up big logs in his backyard. I found a small sliding bandsaw for sale, but I didn't have the cash to buy it. But I had a friend who wanted to mill his own lumber, so instead of paying a sawmill to do it, my friend and I chipped in and bought our own sawmill. I even paid my share with money I made from the future milling of other people's logs. And let me tell you, with the high demand for slabs these days and the uber high wood prices, I'm still making good money milling logs for clients. Plus I get to mill my own wood, so it's really a win-win. The word must have spread locally that I was some sort of woodworking maniac, because I started to get calls from people wanting to give me wood. Sometimes it's tree that fell in storms, other times it's old wood from demolitions, and even a whiskey distillery offered me their old barrels. At this point I'm still just going crazy with making stuff. I had this big poplar that needed to go down, so I figured why not do it the good old-fashioned way, with an axe. It's kind of also a picture of my whole journey here, because my big win hadn't really landed yet, but I surely put in the work. Late in 2020 I had about 300 subscribers, but that was about to change. I tried to learn woodworking and filming and editing for YouTube simultaneously, and also running a woodworking business. And social media like Instagram and YouTube are great for showing off your projects. But if you want to run a business, I recommend that you get your own website as early as possible. A friend recommended Squarespace, and they were kind enough to sponsor this part of the video. With Squarespace, I was able to quickly set up a professional-looking website using their ready-to-go templates. I can sell my projects in my own shop, I'm posting my blog there, and I collect sign-ups for my email newsletter. I also have pages that describe my different services, like milling logs and building custom furniture. And as a YouTuber, it's super easy to set up a merchandise shop and start selling custom designed gear right off my own website and YouTube channel, using one of the print-on-demand services they integrate with. If you want to give Squarespace a try, head over to squarespace.com/Jesper Makes to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using code Jesper Makes. So, with my sawmill up and running, I had more types of wood than just pallet wood and cable reels. When people think of woodworking, they often think of an indoor shop with tools and dust collection. But what if you don't have space for a shop or money to fill it up with expensive machinery? Some of my first woodworking tools were these tenon cutters and some auger drill bits. I made a lot of woodworking projects outside with these and with my axe and chainsaw. It's very easy to use a tenon cutter, and you can easily attach legs to benches, stools and tables with it. I made these benches from a green poplar log and treated it with wood burning. With all the pallet dismantling I had done up till now, I had a considerable amount of pallet blocks just laying around. And I figured it could be a good idea making something out of them. That turned out to be a really good idea a little later. And speaking about how far I am in my woodworking journey, I don't know yet. I was just grinding away, making pallet wood projects and milling up logs, and also starting to figure out what customers were willing to pay money for. I started going more into making tables, and one of those tables happened to be the Pallet Blocks coffee table. I recorded the making of it over the summer of 2021, and I decided to put all I knew about editing at that point into the video. I uploaded it in October 2021. It didn't get too much attention at first, but enough so I at the end of the year could celebrate getting 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. That also meant I got into the YouTube partner program and started to earn money from the views on my channel. I started to direct my maker focus to bigger and more unique pieces, for the simple reason that I thought they would make more interesting videos, and also because they sell for a higher price than the small pallet wood projects. And I'm not gonna lie, putting out a lot of small items is also a lot of work. You need to sand and stain and sand in all the small cracks and corners. But there is also more risk involved in making bigger projects. For bigger projects, I needed a bigger work table, so I made one from recycled wood and I filmed it for a video. I was afraid that no one wanted to watch yet another workbench YouTube video build, so I really tried to make a work table that no one had ever seen before. And also on the video side, I tried to include as much story in the video as possible and trying to include all the weird stuff going on inside my head. The video got an okay amount of attention when it was published in February 2022, probably my best performing video so far. But I still struggled with handling YouTube and my woodworking business at the same time, because recording and editing videos takes time away from actual woodwork in the workshop. I enjoyed making videos and I felt being on YouTube helped me get approved by clients. But then I also needed cash to buy tools and pay for expenses. So I almost decided to stop making videos. But then in April 2022, the pallet blocks video started taking off. I guess YouTube had figured out who to show the video to. And those people apparently liked the video because they also subscribed. And because I linked the workbench video in the pallet blocks video, smart, people started watching that one too. I was honestly expecting the views to stop any minute, any day. But I was suddenly at 10,000 subscribers and YouTube started paying monthly for those views. I went on with my strategy of making bigger and more unique items and making videos of the ones where I could see a good story in the video. Over the summer of 2022, I sold some big projects to customers and together with YouTube money, I was able to upgrade to better tools. I was also able to trade some work for tools, so my little horsebarn workshop and sawmill operation is looking better and better. And YouTube just sent me this for passing 100,000 subscribers. I even got recognized by Ruby Monaco, who made me the ambassador in Denmark. What I really appreciate every day is that I wake up whenever I wake up. And then I make coffee, because coffee solves everything. And then I decide if I should go straight to the workshop or if I should start the day doing some editing on a video. I pretty much decide what I want to build for clients in the workshop or around the house for my wife. I like to work a lot, but I'm rarely stressed out. I really like chatting with other makers.
Jesper? What is that, a species of tree? No, never heard of it. Let's try.
Jesper Makes? Nah, doesn't ring a bell.
I thought you were the Danish pallet Viking.
Interesting guy. Danish.
Apparently I'm not that famous yet. So the big tree here. It took me all day to axe 2/3 through it, and then it got dark and I had to stop. And that night a storm came and took the tree down. In the wrong direction.
May I suggest checking the weather forecast before you start hacking down trees with axes or drilling down trees with drills?
Come on, James. I would never try to take down a tree with a drill. You know that.
Can you drill down a tree with a drill?
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out.